Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dan Wolkenstein here with you from the LA Football Network. Today's show, of course, is being brought to you by BetOnline, Charger Bolt Family, and Rock Solid Sports Memorabilia. If this is your first time tuning into the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein, not even going to get into, my friends. Cut out the BS. Get down to brass tacks. How are you?
I am great. Super excited today. Got a great special guest episode. The one and only Quentin Johnston joins us to talk about camp so far, talk about Kellen Moore, Justin Herbert, going deep, being a hands catcher, and what you're hearing from social media and critics. A whole bunch of stuff that we get to get into today. Jake, before we get to that, over or under? I got to ask you, over or under? How many 40-yard receptions plus are we going to see from Quentin Johnston in 2023? So
this will be an interesting line.
I'm going to put the over or under at 4.5.
Dan, I've been in an optimistic mood for the last couple of weeks. And even people in the comment section have just been saying, it's like, God, optimistic Jake is great. Well, you know what? You're catching me in the offseason. Normally, I'm more optimistic in the offseason as we get closer to training camp. Why? Because I hunger for football to be back. I'm happy about it. I love talking football in general. So naturally, I am a little bit more optimistic. So let's hope we can keep this trend going. But today, I am going to keep this trend going, Dan. So what was that lining at 4.5, you said, for 40-plus yard catches? I mean, everything that we've been hearing as far as Kellen Moore, what he's implementing in this offense, the expectations of the Chargers going deep, and finally using Justin Herbert's cannon more often, I'd have to say that it's really going to go over. Really going to go over.
Book it. Take it to your bookies if you do choose to gamble.
Yes. But I want to remind everybody real quick before we get into the interview with Quentin Johnston that BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your sporting betting needs this season. Always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your very own home. All you got to do is to get into the action today is head on over to betonline.ag or use your mobile device to join. Be sure to use that promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards and your 50% bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
That guy, Quentin Johnston, your Chargers wide receiver, first-round draft pick, coming up next on Chargers Unleashed. Chargers standout first-round draft pick, wide receiver rocking the single-digit H1M. Quentin Johnston joins Chargers Unleashed. Quentin, welcome to Chargers Unleashed. How are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good. Everything's going smooth out here.
I love it. Now, we got you fresh out of camp, fresh out of OTAs, literally fresh off the field. We're going to talk about going up against this Chargers secondary. We can talk about first impressions, teaming up with Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore. Obviously, we got to talk about you catch with your hands, maybe some first impressions, and hopefully get into you predicting this team going deep. But first off, before we go any further, you just got off the field. How was training camp today? Any kind of key takeaways from today that you can share with us?
Obviously coming in, still get acclimated to the playbook, as a whole. But, I feel like I've been getting better and better every day. But, just continuing to go, each day, getting adjusted and, getting a deep connection with the quarterbacks, adjusting up in those guys. And then at the same time, picking up some stuff from a receiver standpoint from Keenan.
All right. Well, that's a great segue. It's almost like you read my mind. When you were drafted by the Chargers, you were welcomed by Keenan Allen, other members of the wide receiver group, as they came to your hotel on Keenan's birthday. You mentioned Keenan Allen. Explain to us kind of the relationship between you and your wide receiving core over the last couple months, both on and off the field. Like, what's that been like? Who's the crazy guy? Who's the one that's funny? Who's serious? Like, what are some of the ins and outs of this relationship with this wide receiving core?
Yeah, no. So from the first day I came up here, Keenan, Mike, they both texted me. Kind of hung out with them that night. They was just kind of, giving me the rundown on everything, telling me, just how everything's going, what to expect, how to get acclimated to, just being here by myself. But to be honest, they all real funny, obviously they got a little age on me, so some of their jokes come from way from the left that I wasn't expecting, but not that's fun.
Now I gotta ask you. A lot of people said about it's Keenan's birthday. I would imagine you guys went out and had some fun. Did you have to front the first bill? I know rookies usually got to do it for a while. Was that first on you?
I've been blessed that hasn't happened yet. I'm gonna say yet. I'm gonna say yet because look, it's not over yet. I still haven't went home for a little break, so I'm still kind of on pins and needles right now.
There you go. Quentin, yesterday, Fanatics shared a video of this year's rookie class receiving video messages from the players that they, mold their game after, that they look up to. And you received a message from Devontae Adams, who you have talked about since the combine and how you model your game after him. And he had obviously said in that little excerpt that we got a chance to see, he said, "I'm proud of you, man. Big fan of you and the way that you play the game." I know it was just a short excerpt, but what else did Devontae divulge in that message to you? And then, but more importantly, what can you tell us what it's like to receive a message like that from someone who you emulate?
Yeah, not for sure. Obviously, it's big getting to this point, but then you got to look back and be like, these are the people you've been looking up to, since you was a little kid. So just to have a direct message from, that specific guy, it meant a lot to me. To know that he's, not only recognizing that I'm a fan, but also, kind of sharing that he's, somewhat of a fan of mine. So it's amazing. At that time, I was kind of in shock, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's cool. Kind of taking it all in from there. He gave me a little signed jersey, so I got that hung up at my house back in Texas right now.
There you go.
There we go. Love it. I love it. Now, rookie years are never easy, especially for wide receivers. I think team fit has a lot to do with success for those players. For you, like pairing with a quarterback like Justin Herbert and an offensive coordinator like a Kellen Moore, what have those two specifically brought to you? And what do you think that tandem will unlock for you personally and this offense this season?
Yeah, for sure. With those two, I feel like they've really pushed me to be at a place to where they see me not particularly where I see myself, but kind of past that. They got high hopes for me. From day one when I walked in the building, threw the playbook at me. Obviously, that's a big learning curve coming from college to the NFL, but it's like nobody's gonna feel sorry for me, so I got to pick it up. I've been doing good with that, and in that practice, with Justin just getting connections. He kind of recognized my skill set. Very early on. So we talking right now. We got some plays and stuff set in stone for me. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Quinn, from the Chargers defense, this defense has some stars on it. And we've seen you going up against secondaries with like Asante Samuel Jr., you have Michael Davis, you have Derwin James. What have those matchups been like for you thus far? And what are some of your main takeaways when you're going up against some of these NFL DBs?
Yeah, that's probably by far the biggest challenge I've had. Because obviously you're not gonna win every play like you did maybe in high school or maybe in college. So those guys playing against those guys just really makes you think. You can't go into a route just having one move. You got to have a counter move and then a counter move off of all that, because you got to think these guys have been in the league for a countless number of years, and they're really smart. So that's one thing I'm kind of picking up. Kind of just having counter moves for everything. Kind of learning their tendencies, how they play, and what they look for. Just watching their film as well as mine, so I know what to do next time we match up with each other.
And to piggyback off of that, just because you talk about your learning curve getting acclimated to the NFL, but you're quickly making an impression in OTAs thus far. Okay. We've heard Keenan Allen talk about how excited he is to have you as part of this wide receiver group, how he's excited to take part in some of your development as a wide receiver. We've had Derwin James talk about you being that guy. And then of all things, now you're making impressions on not just your offensive coaches, but your defensive coaches. We got Derek Ensley coming over to you, talking about you being a dog, going over to Kellen Moore, saying, I really like number one, man. He's got that dog in him. So as far as when you hear things like that, and this quickly in training camp, what has been the biggest thing that you have learned thus far? And then what do comments like that do for your motivation on a day-to-day basis?
Oh yeah, for sure. It boosts me up a lot, but at the same time, I got to know this is only the beginning, so I can't really get too much caught up into that. Obviously, I see it on social media. It was obviously when it happened, but that's cool. I feel like that's a cooler story for my parents to go and look like, oh my gosh, like he said this and that, but it's like, okay, like I see him every day. I can't really get caught up in like, oh, so and so said this about me, which is all good things, but I kind of take it with a grain of salt. Keep moving forward. Making myself better.
You sound humble. You sound got a great upbringing from parents. That's, I think, what Chargers love. Chargers fans love to see it as well. You mentioned social media. I got to ask you this. Sky's the limit for you, obviously, in terms of talent. Your dedication to the game has been well documented. Your attributes, size, speed, length, agility. But for some reason, one critique that some have given has been that you weren't a quote-unquote hands catcher. Yeah. Now, we've seen the team troll those critics with highlights of you and highlight reel hand catches throughout OTAs and camp. Has that been something specific that you and wide receiver coach has been like working on? Is that something that you listen to on social media? Like, what do you say to the naysayers? Like, is this all a bunch of malarkey? Like, what is all this?
Yeah, I mean, they just need something to hold on to. Obviously being a high draft pick, and not really just trying to toot my own horn there, but that's what it is. There's a lot of good things about a player, so they just need something like, okay, like, I don't feel like he's going to get drafted high because of this. Well, I got drafted high, so now they're just going to keep going with that story. That's not something that I just. I mean, like, obviously practice on catching on the jugs and stuff every day, but it's not like, okay, catching my hands. I've been catching with my hands. That's just they literally go off of like 2, 3, 4 plays from college that I'm like, okay, body catching, but. I mean, like, everybody does it. Like, you can literally look up any receiver highlights. Everybody's doing this. It's a catch at the end of the day. So, I'm not too big into social media as far as scrolling through comments and who's saying stuff about me, because that's just wasting my time. I mean, so like, all I can do is get better into those comments. I kind of just sit back and laugh at it, let everybody else worry about it.
There you go. I love that. We're talking to Quentin Johnston, your Chargers first-round draft pick. We're wrapping up here. I'm sure you've heard all the talks and the dreams of this team throwing it deep. Head coach Brandon Staley's talked about it. Keenan Allen's talked about it. Analysts around the NFL, fans have been absolutely begging for it. All right, Quentin, please help us turn this dream into reality. Will we see Justin Herbert launching rockets downfield to you, to Derius, to Jalen? Is it going to be different this year?
That's 100%, yes, sir. We plan to be a great contribution to the team. We're going to be very electric, in my opinion.
Let's go. All right, last thing. You and Derius come from the same guy, obviously, Max Duggan, all from TCU. What should we expect from, like, the wide receiver, quote-unquote, pairing of you and Derius Davis together? Like, do you see Derius Davis, like, out there busting up plays on offense?
100%. And not only that, with the return game, too, obviously, he's a very scary player to see back there kicking, too. So, I feel like he's going to make an impact early on that. And then, when we throw him in the slot, a lot of goal balls, a lot of quick slants and stuff like that, because he's very twitchy. So I'm not only excited to see myself and what I can do at this level, but also for my homeboy DD too.
Let's go. Okay, so last question. This is a fun one. We've talked about speed on this team. We've wanted it for so long. Now we got you, got Derius, Jalen's back, we got JT Woods, who's also forgotten about. The guy's pretty quick. 40-yard dash with the ball in their hands, pads on and everything. Yeah. Who's winning?
Out of who?
Out of you, Derius, Jalen, and the JT Woods.
As much as I want to say myself, I got to give it to my boy Derius. It's been many times at practice where in college where our coach is like, we're not going to stop conditioning until somebody beats Derius, and literally that happens.
It's a good barometer to have.
Yeah, so it's like we can keep up with him, but as soon as he puts his head back, it's like it's over with. So I don't even know. I'm gonna just give him all the credit on that when he got it.
I love it. Quentin, thanks so much for doing this. It's been a ton of fun. Anything you want to say to the Chargers fans who have been clamoring, who are so excited to see you at preseason during the regular season? We got to say to the Bull fam.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be a part of the family. Just hope to, make you guys proud for years and years to come.
Quentin Johnston, your wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. Quentin, thank you so much, man. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. Best of luck out there. Can't wait to see you ball out this year. All right.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, man. See you, Quentin.
Thank you.